and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm. My name is Jenny and today I'm going to be doing just a bit of a catch up on the projects that I'm doing here on the Pocket Farm. The first thing I've been getting up to is a very long overdue project. I'll actually insert a little bit of footage here that I showed of my sewing room because, oh my lord, it was such a mess. When I came to film this video this morning, I looked into my sewing room. Obviously, this is where my YouTube studio is, and I thought, I'm going to have to tidy up before I can even start. So that's what I ended up doing. I need to record a video, but this is my sewing room. This is my project room at the moment. So what I am currently doing is covering these squabs. This was a couch that we bought. Actually, let me show you the couch and then you'll see what I'm doing. So this is the couch. We bought it off Trade Me a couple of years ago. There was a sort of a base cushion here and then a back cushion at the back. And it was covered in that sort of faux leather stuff that all the leather peels off. So we bought the couch for a very good price because essentially all the covers were completely destroyed. And we just sort of basically had a blanket on over the top ever since. And of course it comes in, it's useful, you sit on it, it's comfortable, and then I haven't done anything about it. But I really wanted to get on with this project, specifically because I had a bunch of curtains, old curtains from an apartment we used to live in. The sun in New Zealand is very strong, really high UV. And what it does is it sort of rots the back of curtains. So these curtains, they were a little bit faded on the front, but were only really on the edges. And then the back linings were completely rotten. And inside, in between the lining and the curtain front, there was a sort of a wadding layer, if you like, of sort of like insulation layer, which was a sort of a polyester sort of felty sort of stuff. So I basically took all these curtains apart, harvested the front fabric, which I think was good quality fabric and could be used again, the wadding in between, then threw away, you know, the lining that was completely destroyed and the curtain tape and all of that sort of stuff. Washed all the bits I was keeping, pressed, ironed, all the rest of it, and they've been in a chest ever since. And I've been thinking, right, I really need to do something with this. I have the materials, the couch needs covering. So that's project number one. When I took the cover off, what was underneath was just basically a few pieces of foam all sort of on top of each other, but sort of loose. So what I want to do is make a removable cover so that I can basically zip it off and wash it. I have basically covered this squab, well, these multiple pieces of foam in here, and I've used this to sort of hold it all together and make one base piece. I had to hand stitch all this on. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of days. That's the base. And then over here, this is the back squab up here. So these are all now stitched and covered, ready to go. To make the cover, I needed to create a pattern. So that essentially is what all this is. I have measured it all up, I have worked it all out and created a pattern out of old scrap paper. So what happens is when I do my pattern cutting, I have this basket down here, which I put all the offcuts and bits of leftover paper in so I can reuse it. So because this pattern is going to be a one-off sort of thing, I mean, I just wanted to sort of sellotape some bits together and make the pattern. So that's what all this is. I now need to cut that out on the fabric that I'm using for these squabs and then stitch up the covers. So that's part of what I'm doing. The other project that I'm working on is some squabs for these chairs. So it's all squab. Oh, that's not easy to say. They're metal, which is great. They're very resilient. They're easy to clean, they're great, but they are a bit cold under the bottom in the evenings. In the daytime, it's fine, it's lovely. And they're white, which is a really good idea because obviously with the white, they reflect the heat. And that means that they don't get hot in the sun. But being metal, they also get a bit chilly in the evening. So if you're sitting outside, you can get a bit of a cold bump. So I've got this plan to sort of make squabs for the chairs. So I know it's the end of summer, it's the wrong time of year to do it, but hey, so I made a pattern for those, and then basically I'm in just the process of making those squabs as well, as I say, with this old curtain materials. So this is what I have come up with. Essentially, I have cut 4 pieces of this material. I have made a pattern basically sort of inside the tubes, and then a little bit left, a little bit sort of over at the front. And this is because obviously you want your legs to roll over and not have that cold edge. That is sort of comfortable enough and provides enough sort of cushioning and insulation, if you like. So my plan now is the curtains, some of the curtain fabric that was on the front of the curtains, it's sort of like a bit sun faded on the edges, but there's enough good fabric that I'm actually going to use the curtain, the patterned curtain front, if you like, to cover these squabs. So I'm trying to do this project, or both of these projects really, for sort of next to no money. So I am using these curtains and repurposing the materials in them that are worth saving and repurposing, and making squabs and covering the cushions and all the rest out of it. So those are 2 of the projects, but oh, and I've got a secret project that I'll talk to you about at the end of this video. But of course what you're here for probably is my knitting update. So I'm just going to show you where I'm at with that. Do you remember this cardigan? I think I did talk to you about it in my knitting, when I did my first knitting video. And this was the sort of Scrappy project. I have this wool left over, this Rowan felted tweed, and I had this left over from a couple of other projects that I'd made. And I wanted to sort of use it up. I had enough of the various colours to sort of make something, but obviously I couldn't find a pattern for those sort of the amounts that I had, so I just made it up. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of footage in here, because I can't really show you in this room what it looks like, so I'll put a little bit of footage in here of the finished garment. So as you can see, the main part of the garment is green, and then you see I have these white patches here. Well, the original plan was to change to white and to have white all the way down the sleeves. But when I came to the bottom of this white piece and joined in the other white ball that I had, it was a different dye lot, and there was a definite difference in, you could see it very clearly, 2 different colours. Now, because I've done it now on 2 different sleeves, you probably can't see. I don't know, can you see that on camera, that they're slightly different colours? They're the same colour, but they're different dye lots of the same colour. So that meant that I couldn't keep going on a white sleeve. I had to change back to the green. And what I've done in any join area, I've sort of added in the little pattern, the little colour work pattern that I've put in on the main body across here. So this colourwork pattern comes across and joins on the sleeves as well. I added it in at the bottom of here as well to make sense of the transition. Then of course I could put the other white on this sleeve, because being on other sleeves you can't really tell. I also put the white on the pocket, so I put a little trim on the pocket here, and then again I put this little colourwork piece in here. And I did the pocket linings in the yellow. Obviously anywhere I was trying to save the green, because I thought I'll use the green, I had the most of that, so I thought I'll use the green as the main body, the main colour, and then add in these other colours sort of as accent colours, if you like. So yeah, so I was really pleased with the way it worked. So when I came to do the button border, I was really playing yarn chicken. I did actually have a dark green yarn, the same as this, which I could have used, but I felt that I probably would have enough for the button border. So I started the button border and then just run out when it wasn't not quite wide enough. So I ended up putting in a white stripe and then finishing it with the yellow, which I think was really nice. I often find that sort of scarcity actually sort of stimulates creativity and makes you do other things that maybe you wouldn't think of otherwise, because you sort of want to try and make it work. And then buttons. I ended up doing a whole bunch of different buttons. I don't know if you can see it on there. They're all different colours. I couldn't find the right buttons. I couldn't find anything that matched the green. I couldn't find anything that really went with the white. I tried wooden buttons. Nothing really looked right. And then my wonderful knitting shop, when I went there for my knitting group one week, they actually had a big sort of pot of buttons, random buttons, that they weren't selling through the shop. They were just sort of left over. So and they said I could have a really good route through and see what I could find that might work. So I found these buttons. I didn't find enough of any particular colour, but they were all the same type of buttons. And I thought they looked really good. So I went a bit mad and sort of added in the sort of, embraced the craziness of the cardigan and used the random buttons. Now I know you're going to ask me what pattern I used. And I have to say, the original pattern that I used for this is actually the Janet cardigan. I'll put the details on the bottom of the screen. It's actually the Janet cardigan, but it's probably not that much help because the Janet cardigan is for a 2-ply yarn. It has a bobble sort of frieze around the bottom, which I didn't put in. It has 3/4 sleeves, which I didn't use. I added pockets in here, which it didn't have. I changed the raglan join here. They have like a little eyelets down, and I used this one. Now I actually had that pattern because I've made the 2-ply cardigan, the Janet cardigan, and I really like it. But it had the right sort of raglan shape and all the rest of it, and I thought, well, could I make it work with that pattern, using that as a bit of inspiration, if you like. So what I did was I just ended up doing some swatches of this, and this cardigan is knitted in a different size. It's knitted in a different yarn. Obviously this is an 8-ply yarn, and although it's a very lightweight 8-ply yarn, so probably only knits up as a 4-ply, I think. I did it on different needle sizes, and then, as I say, I adjusted heaps about it. So I used it as sort of like inspiration, if you like, or general shaping, I suppose it would be. But I'm really pleased with the result, the way it's turned out. It's exactly the right sort of length, and it's the right fit, and I'm really pleased with it. I mean, obviously when you knit, you can sort of adapt it to how you like it, how you want it to be, which is the wonderful thing about making your own stuff. You can make it just the way you want. But it is always a bit of a trick, I find, when you're knitting, because quite sometimes it doesn't work out quite how you wanted it. So, but I am really, really pleased with this. It just feels so wonderful to wear. So we're at the end of summer now, coming into winter. So it's quite warm at the moment. And obviously, when I was doing my little twirl, I've just put it over the top of this dress, which is not what I'd wear it with, so it doesn't obviously go with the outfit that I'm wearing. But anyway, hopefully you'll get the idea. It should go really nicely with my other winter garments. So this is actually part of my winter wardrobe. I am a bit stalled on my winter wardrobe. You'll see this video later on, I'm sure, if I ever finish it. I started off making a knit dress, and it has just been an absolute nightmare, and everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. It's been in the naughty corner for ages. I pulled it out and tried it again. It's gone back into the naughty corner. It's basically stalled my sewing. So, and also every time I try it on, it is boiling hot. This is a knit dress, and I'm putting on, I mean, I can't put it on and start pinning things. It's just so warm. So it's still in the naughty corner. I will either leave it there and start a new project, or I will pick it up and fix it. Anyway, we will see. This is part of my winter wardrobe, ready for winter, which with the nights are drawing in now. It's still very warm, and it is predicted to be warm for the rest of March. But we can sort of tell that it's going to be winter soon, if you know what I mean. It is, we are so dry. There is no rain at all. There hasn't been any rain for months and months. It is so dry in Auckland. So it's really tricky because I can't really get my winter veg in. I've got seedlings that are actually going past it, and I might actually just need to throw them in the compost because it's so dry. The ground is like concrete, and until I can get some seedlings in, this year I think there's going to be a bit of a gap. I've got a few winter things in already, which I put in earlier and are surviving through the summer under nets, but I can't get the winter seedlings in. Anyway, this is not great gardening, is it? This is about knitting and crafting. So that's the first project. The next project is, I think I showed you this in my, was it my Christmas chat video? I think it possibly was. This is my crochet. I find that this project is great for carrying around, just putting in your handbag when you need a little project. So far I have done this much. Ongoing, 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 ongoing. So as you can see, possibly not enough for an actual project yet, but I'm really enjoying doing it. And as I say, this is such a tiny little project bag, and the project is so small that this is the project bag. It's something I got from the charity shop. It's obviously a bag for putting wine in, I would say. But anyway, don't know why you'd want to put wine in a bag, but anyway. It's a tiny little project bag, so it goes really small and it just sits in my handbag. So if, like yesterday, I went to have my hair cut and I knew that I'd probably be sitting waiting for a few minutes, and I can just pull it out and do a little bit of crochet. It's really easy, it's fun to do, and yeah, it's very transportable. So that I'm sort of ongoing with that. When I get to a point where there's enough to make a project with, I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. But for the moment, I'm just ongoing. I usually have socks on the go as a fill-in project, and I think I showed you this one in my knitting update video. This is the bright red socks. These, I should say these are the bright red socks. Now, as you can see, I haven't got an awfully long way with them. I'm just about now to go to the heel. Well, actually, what I want to do now is just do a few short rows just to this part here, just make it a little bit wider for the sort of ankle heel part. I shall do a few short rows in here. That's a little trick that I actually learnt off Alana from, again, Lupine, my knitting shop in Parnell. So I'm going to do a few short rows on this and then get into the heel. And then of course go up the leg. So this is a fill-in project, very boring. I'm just knitting some very boring red socks. I have tried knitting socks that are more complicated and have patterns on them and all the rest of it. And I find that actually I just like plain socks. Yeah, I find, like, I mean, I did make some very fancy, it was on one of the videos that I did, some very fancy lingerie socks, which I do wear and I do like, but in a weird way they've become my sort of best socks. Do you have best socks? If you have best socks, please put it in the comment below and tell me about them, because that's a weird concept, isn't it? Yes, I have best socks. So I wear those for best. And these socks, what I actually need more of is, of course, this everyday socks. Socks that I just pop on regularly and they go through the wash and all the rest of it. So these ones are everyday socks. Yes, I know they're red. I don't see why you can't have bright red everyday socks. So that's these are ongoing. Half a sock on that project. So as you can see, not very fast. I'm quite a slow knitter. But these are fill-in projects for when I am maybe going to my knitting group, or I'm going, I don't know, to somebody's house for the weekend or something like that, where I want a project that I can do but won't engage any of my brain. I won't get to any sort of sticky bits where I need to figure out what to do. You know, I don't want to really take the bulk of my main project. This is my fill-in project. It's also transportable, but obviously not quite as transportable as the crochet. So I think it's important to have a craft for every possible opportunity. Every space that you might have in your life would need a craft that fits in it. So yeah, these are the my crafts that fit. Now I have one more at the moment. Well, I have my stockings, my 2-ply stocking project, which I have to admit I haven't started yet. So I did mention that in my knitting video last time, and yes, I haven't even started those. They're on the list. They're on a long-term list, but I haven't started them yet because I have these other things going on. And then this is my new main project. This again is a Scrappy project. I can't remember if I told you about this in my last video. I don't think it was even on the radar, or I might have mentioned that I was going to do another Scrappy project. Anyway, this is the Scrappy project. This again is one where I had lots of balls of wool. This is a yarn that I don't think they make anymore, or if they do make it, it's different. It's a Supreme Possum Merino. It's made of possum fur, merino wool and silk. And I've done a few projects over the years in this yarn, and I had a few I had a few balls, random balls left over. No full balls, they were all part balls. I might have had one full ball. They were all part balls. And I thought, what can I do with this? So I am making a vest. Now, I got a free pattern off the internet. Found it on Ravelry. If you can see that. I'll put maybe details on the screen. It's a waistcoat. It's actually a Japanese pattern that's been translated. It's free on the internet. Obviously, as you can see, it's a sort of a man's size waistcoat. Very simple, but I was looking for something that didn't have sleeves, that wouldn't take up too much yarn, because I knew when I looked at the quantity I had, I didn't have enough for sleeves. So I thought, right, let's do a little waistcoat. Rustle, rustle, rustle. And I found this and I thought, oh, this would do the job. The finished chest measurement on the pattern is 36 inches, 91.5 centimeters. That isn't mine, my size, my chest size, so I needed to make it smaller than that. So again, what I did was I did some swatching to work out, and I also looked at the needle size requirements for this yarn. So once I'd done that, I also wanted to figure out a way of knitting in all these different colours, because of course I didn't want to, there were lots of part balls, and so I needed something that's going to use all these part balls, and if they ran out it wouldn't matter, if you see what I mean. So that pattern, the one I've just shown you, is actually knitted in pieces, a back and two fronts. So what I've done is I have knitted it in one whole piece. So, I mean, you can see, that's one whole piece. I basically just joined them together. It's just straight sides. They're all straight sides. The only shaping is actually in the arms and then the V-neck front. So it was really easy just to join these bits together and do the whole thing flat. That way, I figured I could make the pattern the same all the way across. Whatever I decided to do, I could do all the way across. Now it's got a bit more tricky when I get up to the fronts, because I needed to make sure that I was matching. It is essentially just a slip stitch pattern. On one side you go slip knit, slip knit, slip knit, slip knit, and then on the other side you just go knit, 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 and then you go to the other side, slip knit, slip knit. You know, you do the same. So what I meant was that I could just join in colours as I went when I wanted. So I sort of planned out that it would be in a certain order, which means that the pale colour repeats at regular intervals. But then I thought I was going to run out of yarn, so I actually went and bought another yarn, and one more ball, which is brush tail. It's the same possum merino type yarn. It's a 4-ply. It's not the same as the other yarn, but it's close enough. So I then started adding in some red because I thought I was going to run out, and I think I might do. But anyway, what I've managed to do is make the fronts the same. I've also added pockets. So I don't know if you can see here, I've put little pockets in here, and there's one on the other side as well. So I don't know if I'll be able to show you roughly how this is going to go, because I've just really got one side. Can I put the other side on? Probably not. So I'll have to show you what it all comes together. But essentially, this is the, can I stand up and show you? There's a little pocket, and it's just coming down. The other side will come in the same, and then it would just carry on round like that. There will be a button band go on here as well. At the moment, I'm thinking that this button band might be in either the navy, or if I don't have enough navy, which is what I've done the welt in, I might end up using that new ball, the red that I've bought. We will see. It's always a bit of an experiment, these things, isn't it? And see how it's going to work out. I think the size is about right. It's going to be very fitted, but that's what I wanted. I wanted a really fitted, snuggly sort of waistcoat, and that's why I put the little pockets in, to sort of make it like a fitted you know, the sort of waistcoat you'd wear under a jacket. You know, that was my idea for it. So hopefully it will work out like that. It looks like it's going to be nice and fitted. It will be a really nice sort of body warmer, especially with that possum merino and the silk in it as well. It'll be lovely. So that's the project. I'm now just coming up the back. I've done the two sides so that the front sides, so that they are the same. Coming up the back, I may well run out of some of the colours. So I figure the back you don't see at the same time as the front anyway. It's one block. And if I run out of a colour, I'll just carry on without that colour. I've got enough yarn that it will work. So as colours disappear and I run out of them, I'll just replace it with that new red colour. And hopefully at the end of this, I will have something that'll work, and then I just need to join the shoulders. Anyway, that is an update on my knitting. So now let's have a look at my new passion. It's a bit of an obsession, to be honest. Anybody guess what it is? Now, there was a clue. Earlier in this video, you would have seen some footage that might have given you a bit of a hint. I'm currently learning French for no other reason than I want to. I basically, we lived in France for about 3 years, many years ago, 30 years ago. And so I have some sort of base French from school. I have some spoken French from when we lived there. And my grammar is appalling. So I thought, right, okay, let's brush up the grammar and let's work on the French language. I got a couple of books from a secondhand store that we have here. One of them is a grammar book in French, so that's a bit of a stretch for the brain. The instructions and everything in French and the answers and everything is in French, so that's quite useful. Oh, and I got another book, which was a novel. It's a really bad, trashy French novel, and I am now reading that book. I'm also doing a French crossword every day. So that is, I'll put the details on the screen because I'm not sure of the details, but it is brilliant. I tell you, I found it on a YouTube video, of course. And now I do it every day. I absolutely love it. That's what I'm busy doing at the moment. I'm doing my squabs. I'm doing my knitting. I am doing my French, and I am actually doing another Make Do and Mend project. If I get chance to do a bit more on that this week or next week, that will probably be the next week's video. But I never know what I'm going to do one week to the other. It's really just what am I doing that week, and I just bring you along, and hopefully it's interesting to you. I know it's all over the place and a bit varied, and sometimes I'm making wine, and sometimes I'm sewing a dress, and sometimes I'm gardening, and I know it's a bit crazy, but yeah, that's my life. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy doing. If you enjoy this content, please, if you could give me a thumbs up, comment below, let me know what you're doing. Are you doing any soft furnishing projects? How's your knitting going? Are you learning languages? How are you finding it? If you're one of these amazing people who can speak 3, 4, 5 different languages, please let me know. Put it in the comments below. Let me know which languages you're learning and how you learn them. That would be that would be very useful and very interesting. I'm busy doing it, just basically book learning, doing my crosswords, which I'm really enjoying, reading my book, and at the moment I'm really enjoying it, picking it up again, dusting off the grey cells, the old grey cells. It's actually amazing. What I found with the crossword is, because I learned a lot of French words when I was living there, they sort of receded. They're somewhere in the back of my mind, and as I'm doing this crossword, a clue will come up, and then this word appears in my brain, and I'm like, oh, that word, and it's right, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know, or I didn't remember that I knew that. So it's very interesting, and it's lovely to sort of like just shake up the brain and find those words again. Anyway, I hope this mad, crazy, different video was of interest to you, and please share it with friends and let other people know my channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That would be wonderful. Ring the bell if you want to ring the bell. That would be lovely. Anyway, I will see you next time. Bye.